Hello, my fellow trial geeks. I am Cadilac, aka OG Cadillac, aka Mother of the Decade, aka looks a decade younger than she really is, and we are here to talk about Sarah Boone, aka Samsonite Sarah, aka Suitcase Sarah. That Sarah Boone. I do want everyone to know there was another Sarah Boone that was famous, and rightfully so, a great American and inventor. And she, in fact, invented the modern day ironing board. We are still using the ironing board that Sarah Boone invented for us. So hopefully, now that Suitcase Sarah has been found guilty, we can all, as Americans, shut her out of our mind and focus on the positive Sarah Boone, the inventor Sarah Boone. All right, so as I said, the jury did not take very long at all, less than an hour and a half to come to their verdict. I was on Orlando Fox 35 leading up to about 30 minutes before the verdict came in, and of course I predicted they'll have a verdict before the end of the night, and I was confident that she would be found guilty, and I was right. I love being right. The jury was obviously unimpressed with Sarah Boone's testimony, which makes sense to me. I mean, I feel like she came off a pretty narcissistic sounding. She didn't have a just lick of remorse, sadness. There was no choking up in her throat, no holding back of feelings, no nothing. Not when she talked about George and his passing, and not when she talked about when she herself was allegedly abused. And again, y'all, the videos. Did the jury really need anything else? I mean, they had basically a confession, have him yelling for help, and her saying, F you. So here we are. Sarah has now been convicted of second-degree murder. Ironically, I saw that her lawyer said, and I quote, she's in shock. Y'all, it's like the videos just don't even register in her brain. Not only did she forget making them, she forgets that they exist on a moment-to-moment basis. She is like in absolute denial. And so that denial of those videos has led her now to be in shock of this verdict. So very interesting. What comes next? The same judge who received the 58-page letter, that judge, yeah, he is going to make the sentencing determination. So Sarah and her lawyers are going to cry to him to explain why she deserves, the least amount of time possible, which my understanding is 22 years, but she could serve up to a lifetime. Will the judge consider all 58 pages of that letter and every other letter before it? Or how about the wanted ad letter? Yes, he will. He will consider her behavior from start to finish. He'll consider what type of prisoner she's been, how she's behaved in jail, if she has a past record, if she's doing any work towards sobriety, because very clearly that is something she needs to do. He will look at a lot of different factors in determining his sentencing, but you better believe everything that's on the record, everything she sent him, and everything he had to review, he is going to keep in mind. He is going to keep that in mind in her sentencing. And I don't think that's a great thing for Sarah. I really don't. She made such a point to explain how competent she is and how smart she is. And so I believe that the judge will make it a point to let her know that she's not, in fact, the smartest one in the room, and that you cannot, in fact, zip someone into a broken suitcase. Which, by the way, the most impactful moment in that trial to me, this was the Johnny Cochran, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit type moment, okay? This is the gotcha. This is, to me, this moment is the smoking gun. And so rarely do we have a smoking gun in a courtroom. When that prosecution was cross-examining Sarah and they pulled that suitcase out, and it took the prosecutor a good minute and a half for him to open it up, that was it. Then when he asked Sarah to open it and she couldn't, and she made a comment about, it seemed much easier that night, If you can't open this thing from the outside, there's no way you're going to be able to open it from the inside. And to me, if I saw that as a juror, that combined with how she spoke to him on those videos, I don't care, lady. He may have hit you in the past, and of course that's completely unacceptable and nobody condones that behavior. But locking him in that suitcase was equally, if not far greater, more irresponsible and disgusting and unacceptable behavior. You can't do that. Another thing that I found interesting is the testimony that came out about her hitting with the bat. You know, she said that his hand got out and that's when she started hitting the suitcase with the bat. I believe that. I do. I believe he was trying to kind of get himself out and she whacked him and started hitting the bag with the bat. She did not explain what the neighbors heard in terms of what we think might have been the suitcase falling down the stairs. I don't know. I think maybe he sustained those bruises on his face from the bat. And I do believe she played pop-a-mole with his hand. And every time the hand came out, she whacked it with the bat. I 100% believe that. How can you then say, so you say, I hit him with the bat when his hand came in. How can you then say that you're afraid? What are you afraid of? You have a bat. You have a weapon. He's a 40-year-old who's getting out of a suitcase. What are you afraid of? And I'm pretty sure the jury saw that too. Obviously, the jury saw it too, right? The jury is like, had none of Sarah's story. And, you know, I don't think at all her battered spouse defense worked. I think she would have had a better chance at accident. You know, I was really drunk. Forgot I made the videos. I had planned on unzipping him and I forgot. I feel like accident would have been a better defense. But alas, here we are. We have our verdict and our case is almost complete. The sentencing should happen next week, which means we'll have one last video next week about Miss Sarah, Suitcase Samsonite Sarah Boone. And then we'll move on with our lives with a whole nother set of crazy criminals. Thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.